Hello and welcome to the Recollection Room.
Our guest today is Eric Spivak, very um, interesting, smart, loving individual with a big vision. And I think we should just dive into the episode without much introduction.
Yeah, let him introduce himself.
Yes. Enjoy.
I surround myself with people that are genuine, sincere, and authentic and transparent and don't really care about the amount of money you have or the car that you drive or the house you live in.
I agree with you. You can surround yourself with those types of people in any environment you're in, right? That's why I say it's just like life because you.
Yeah, it is what you make it.
Yeah. Where have you been that feels more like your flow?
Present in the moment.
Here, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I surround myself with things that inspire and motivate me. I'm surrounded by gifts and things that I've created and that tell a story. And from the clothing that I wear and things that I have on me to every room that I walk in, I want to be able to provide value and contribute. So I like to surround myself with like-minded individuals that have that same thing. And so I would say festivals, conferences, summits, trade shows, things of that nature that are around a specific niche or demographic typically do that for me. And whether that's music or art or fashion or tech or gaming, recently I've been doing events at schools, and that's been like very heartwarming because I'm seeing exactly why I like educating, just transition and translate into something bigger. You never know where anyone's going to go. So like in the same way as I provide stages and platforms for aspiring musicians and up and coming music artists, same way that providing a platform for these students to ask questions and get answers from industry leaders and then see them the next day or next week like apply that information and like have a revolution or a revelation rather. It's beautiful. So I don't like to use the word try, but I'm actively seeking out ways of doing more events within these universities and colleges and even public schools because I didn't go to college, which is ironic that a high school dropout is speaking in front of a bunch of kids that are going for their PhDs and masters and, you know.
Not so, but yes, I can see how that is a...
I'm like, stay in school, kids, except for I didn't. So I'm a really bad example for you guys to stick with it.
Most artistic kids, most right-brained people can't really stick to the conformity of what school is now.
Yeah. I think there were a few things from lack of two-parent household to lack of guidance to the idea being implemented in my head early on that you go to school so you can get a good education, so you can get a good job, so you can get a good amount of money and take care of yourself and others. And once you can do that and put a roof over your head, then you're set. And at 16, me being a smart-ass kid thinking I knew everything, I was trapping. I was selling weed in my school. I was selling mixtapes. I would sell like ice to a fisherman in Alaska. Like it wouldn't even matter. Ice to a snowman, polar bear, whatever. But yeah, I was just hustling at a young age at my bus transportation centers to my school to even had some of my teachers like buying things from me that they shouldn't have. And so once I realized like that game, which I guess at the end of the day is arbitrage. Everything is kind of arbitrage. There's a way to make money in between any transaction or something else out of every transaction if you want to. I dropped out and then for like 6 months intercepted all the phone calls and all the letters and all the mail that said that your son's not been in school for this amount of time.
You're a smart kid. If you can think of how way to do that.
Yeah, I used my powers for bad for a long time and beating the system from like running all types of different, like I was turning Nigerian scammers into my friends through Craigslist. I was like, I know what you're doing and how you did it and how you took advantage of me, but can I get in with you on this? I was bad. Like, I'm the guy that like leaves the door open once I've cracked the code of
Yeah.
the safe. You know, let me be first, and then you guys have at it. I'm out. But eventually, what I realized is, and I don't know when the consciousness changed or the ethics or maturity, I guess. Um, but yeah, at some point there was a pivotal moment where I was like, with all this effort and energy and time and creative strategy and thought that I'm putting in finding vulnerabilities and back doors and like all of these like little loopholes, what if I use this for good? Like, what if I started helping people do really creative ways of executing their dreams and goals? Like, what if I broke the system in a good way and it had a positive impact instead of just filling my pockets and like being a short-lived speed to dopamine thing, you know? So yeah, I started like finding problems and flaws in different websites and providing security and support. I started seeing inefficient ways that like the bars and restaurants I was working at were operating and offering solutions of like, you know, just something as simple as moving the cups next to the fountain drinks as opposed to people walking across the room with drinks that could potentially spill and create an insurance issue, or that distance from one to another being more time, which could equate to more money and more labor, and so on and so forth. So it's just things like that. I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I don't need to, you know, take cash for a bill and then go and get items comped in order to make more money for myself while waiting tables. Like, I don't need to do this side shit, you know? So yeah,
What do you think?
proud
No, Pat,
growth, you know, growth. Yeah, I've come a long way. I'll just put it like that.
Yeah.
But I would say like the majority of things that I've done that have been negative haven't like, and maybe this is just me rationalizing it. You know, every negative has a positive, every positive has a negative. There's got to be balance, and that's the dichotomy of life, right? And so I didn't feel that I was harming anyone if it was involving like a corporation or a big business or a big box store or whatever it may be. I looked at like here's a good example, like during I don't know when it was, a few years back, I was homeless for like 3 months because I didn't want to inconvenience friends. And I was rendered homeless because of a slumlord that didn't want to pay to put me in hotels or properly take care of me, while my entire building in Koreatown at the time was infested with bed bugs. I was the only person to hold his ass accountable, got an $80,000 settlement, brought in the Department of Health, all this stuff, right? It's nothing to him because he has very deep pockets and it didn't matter. If it mattered, he would have taken care of it in the first place. But, you know, during that time, I was going to places like We Spa and taking towels and toothbrushes and toothpaste and razors and like all sorts of things. And I was bringing them to homeless people in Skid Row. And it was weird because I myself was homeless technically. Like I could couch surf and I stayed at friends here and there. I was paying for hotels for a minute. I'm like, this is stupid. I'm not going to get reimbursed for this for like another year. But even while I was down and out, I'm still taking care of people, right? Yeah. I'm redistributing wealth and coming back from that instance to so many others. Like I've always been Robin Hood in a way. You know,
it sounds like you're immersing yourself, and whether it's unintentional or intentional, you're immersing yourself in these lives that you wouldn't really be in otherwise, to get a perspective and to correct it in some way because your mind works in that.
I think I do enjoy the troubleshooting and creative strategy of getting myself out of binds, but I'm not doing it for like validation and acknowledgement and virtue signaling or a pat on the back. Like, you make mistakes and you bounce back, and that level of resilience and honesty and humility to be able to actually showcase can help a lot of people in a lot of ways. And I think that's kind of where this whole, you know, like I grew up in a way that like, you know, you either have the money or you have the time, and if you have both, like, great. But I didn't come up from in a situation where I had both. I always had the time, never had the money, so I'd always have to offer or barter my time, skills, and experience with the person that had the money. And then it typically turned out bad because the person with the money didn't have the time or didn't care because they had the money and they're used to just throwing it at problems to go away. Whereas someone like me wouldn't have that opportunity to just to throw a quick fix solution. So I always had to take the long route, always had to, grind it out, always had to get fatigued, always had to leverage different things in order to get what I wanted. And I think now that I've got a bit of both and I've got a lot of my time back and I've understood a lot of ways to get your time back without spending money, I'm doing my best to create effective ways of showcasing these templates and these patterns and these steps to people that it can help so they don't have to go through that same hard-pressed journey.
That's beautiful. What are some of the key takeaway patterns that you would like to share with people listening?
Ooh. Oh, God. Nobody does it alone. Regardless of what they might curate on social media or project or how much they say me, mine, I, life is a team sport. It's we, us, ours. So, it's okay to ask for help. And the sooner you do it when you need it is the best for you. Don't wait for the bleeding to kill you. Don't set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. Really ask for help, ask for advice, ask for support, get feedback. Your friends are a great tool for that, so to speak. And another thing I'd say is trust the process. Progress is a process. Perfection is a process. There's no such thing as perfection, right? And that perfectionist mindset prevents people from moving forward and advancing because there's always going to be room for improvement. And there's always going to be someone better than you. There's always going to be someone worse than you. There's always going to be someone better than you, that's younger than you or older than you or faster than you or more successful than you or whatever it is. So, trust the process, ask for help. And I'd say it's either never too late to reinvent yourself or move with intentionality.
Yeah.
And depending on which of those two you want to go with, I'll say move with intention.
They go hand in hand.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. I think if you know your why, and everything comes down to the same thing. It's like, why do you do it? What do you do? When do you do it? Where do you do it? Why does it matter? How much does it cost? And if it's not money, is it time? If it's not time, is it health? If it's not health, is it something else? But when you look at things with that kind of perspective and that view of it's pretty simple. Stuff in life is pretty simple. It's don't overcomplicate it. So yeah, find your why and move with intention. Say what you mean what you say, and follow your gut, your heart, your passion, your desire, your inspiration, all the things.
Let's get back to when you switched over mindsets from being a troublemaker, knowing just
keep
getting into those
keep
patterns.
prying, just keep prying into that.
I want to get in there. So what was the turning point for you? Do you remember how old you were? Do you remember the feeling, the experience, those specific moments? I know there's not one specific one usually.
Honestly, I'm not sure. My trajectory or journey in life, so to speak, has been very unique, as everyone's is, right? But mine's very odd, I'd say. I was born in Chicago. I was raised in Tampa Bay in Florida. Single parent household, watching my mom work nights, weekends, holidays, all that. She worked for the airlines. her job was replaced by computers and the advancement of technology because she was a flight reservationist, and the airlines were like, you know, you can book your own reservation, so do this yourself and we'll discount you. Like, let's incentivize you to use these new things like computers and internet to do this yourself instead of calling our staff that we pay to do this, right?
Yeah.
And so I saw how hard she worked, and I knew that a lot of what I was doing had residual impact and somewhat damage to her. And it was kind of disrespectful in a way for me to be getting caught up and doing bad shit with my friends. And, you know, she felt like she failed as a parent, so to speak, for a while. And only recently has she like kind of expressed this, that she wishes that she could give me this and that she raised me following certain things and giving me more guidance and support. And then my dad lived in New York, so I used to bounce back and forth from Florida to New York. And when I was in New York, you know, my dad was always working as well. He worked in consumer electronic sales for like Casio and Sharp Electronics and a bunch of other companies. But being in New York and seeing this go, fast-paced environment surrounded by culture and inspiration, you got to see all the bad people doing bad shit with their friends, all the counterfeit jewelry and bags in Canal Street, all the fake and fraud and this, that, and the other, everybody looking to come up, everybody like, you know, just hustling. And then I'd come back to Florida and my hustle game was like that much stronger. So between having that perspective and then dropping out of high school at 16 because I was making a decent amount of money and thought I was the shit and knew everything when I definitely did not, to get on the right side of the tracks again, I moved to New York at 18 and got back into a school, and it wasn't a fully accredited school, so it didn't even matter that I graduated and finished it. Yeah, it sucked. And my mom not going to college, she didn't know that it wasn't a fully accredited school, so it was just kind of a burn of her money, and it sucked. So I think somewhere in my time between 18 and 20 in New York, I was getting out of that let's take advantage of opportunities and beat the system and do these things that harm others but don't directly affect or impact me, and I get to come up a little bit faster and better. And so I think the conscience and ethics and all that started to come around 20, 21.
When your hormones balanced out a bit more.
I think it was more that I think the maturity came from when you fall hard and fast when you're looking to break the rules, and you have to be able to deal with that. And I wasn't really able to deal with that, so it was negatively impacting my dad and my mom. And then coming back to me another time because I'm getting it from whatever system I'm breaking or job I'm getting fired from or whatever it is, and then simultaneously getting more than a slap on the wrist from my parents. And then so, you know, at 18 I was living on my own in Long Island, New York. My dad lived in Queens and Brooklyn at the time, and I started doing I started to find my, I guess, purpose in a way, and started taking care of others and seeing how that was like opening doors and coming back to me, starting to see more of a reciprocal give and take versus just a take. And yeah, from New York, I moved to Austin, Texas. After Austin, Texas, I moved to LA. Once I moved to LA, met a bunch of like bad actors and performative people and just fake facades and just pretentious assholes, to put it bluntly. And I realized that like I don't come from that school. That's not me. I don't want to be surrounded by this, and you are a product of your environment. So I started surrounding myself with really good people that were very organic and authentic and real, and that came through the music community and me throwing events and DJing and rapping and just being immersed in the culture out here. And now I'm, I don't think I have a bad bone in my body. Everything is like really with a positive intention and goal and outcome. So
it's interesting. You said music, that once you got into the music scene, that's when you found your people. You can't really lie when it comes to art, music, anything that's actually seen by others. You kind of have to have this near and dear personality for people to actually be drawn to you.
Yeah. I mean, it's an expression of self. It's pieces of you, from writing to photography to film to singing to rapping to dancing to producing to playing any instrument. It's all pieces of you that are left on display for the world, and you have to decide how much or how little you want to give and how valuable and important the opinions of others are for you to receive. And then, let the force be with you, because that's what makes you or breaks you as a creative, or as an expressionist, or as somebody that wants to put themselves out in the world like that.
That's really, really nice to hear. I have one specific question I've been dying to ask you, and I see you post, I don't know what it's called, the Instagram message area where there's that top quote people put. What is it called? Do you guys know?
Just the status, the feed.
I guess so, huh? So the status, you've put a few, a couple of times, or maybe 3 times, about your muse.
Yeah.
I'm ready for my muse. This is
Yeah.
What is your ideal muse? I want people to hear it, just in case someone out there.
Yeah. Yell it from the mountaintops. No. For whatever reason, I think the word muse has this weird stigma and stereotype that it's this sultry, intimate, sexually driven thing, so to speak. And the connotation that I think a lot of people gather when you say that word is something along the lines of an intimate partner that you can also learn from. It's like a mentor or an advisor that you could potentially hook up with, or something of that nature. That's the feedback that I've gotten. So I've been very tactful with using the word, just because of how people view it and how people describe it and define it being different. And it could potentially reflect poorly upon me. Not that I care about what other people think about me, but to some extent I have to, for the sake of work. Yeah. But for me, a muse is, like the word amuse, right? It's amusement. It's also musical or melodic in the way that they move, their vibrations, their ability to do, say, think, or feel things that put you into a different state of potentially inspiration or expression or whatever it may be. So for me personally, a muse is somebody that inspires, somebody that can keep you interested, somebody that can hold you accountable, somebody that really makes you approach the world differently, or maybe second guess certain moves or words that you might say or do. So I guess on my end, there's no lack of inspiration in my life. Everything that I look at, I'm looking at the most minute details and microscopic things that you'd think that I'm in some form of stasis or on some drugs when I'm looking at people's eyes, when I'm looking at their hair, when I'm looking at their attire, the different colors, the patterns, the all of it, right? I take it all in. I'm always immersed. I love every second of everything, right? And that might be because of just being on my deathbed and having a near fatal car accident and having that experience of realizing how important and delicate life is. But it also might be because I always look at things with the opportunity to make improvements and make things better. And so, a muse is somebody that will, a muse for me is somebody that will keep me motivated, keep me inspired, keep me driven, keep me engrossed and enamored in everything that they touch and do, and the magic wand that they have, or the Midas touch that they carry. And yeah, and in turn, because of the way that I operate and how I reflect and bounce things off of, and how I absorb things, like, that will only get expanded upon and around, like, tenfold to them and anyone else in a region of me. So that energy is real, and that's also why I enjoy, like, producing events. I've produced like 2 to 5 events every month for almost 15 years now. And when I'm in cities after speaking on conferences or doing keynotes or panels, there's a line of people on the side of the stage that want to talk to me. I don't have enough time to talk to each and every one of them about all the things that I want to talk to them about and the deep dives that I want to go into. So the best and most effective and efficient way for me to have all my friends together at once is throwing parties or throwing dining events, or, bringing them all together and hoping that you two meet, and you two meet, and you two meet, and everybody needs to meet everybody before you're allowed to leave, right? Go on and do some great things together. Tell me about how y'all met 10 years from now when you're married, or when your business is thriving, and put me into your articles, drop my name into hats and rooms that I'm not in, and just be grateful of you're around someone that you could say would do the same for you.
So going on with that story, since you want the best for everyone, seriously, what do you desire most within your lifetime when it comes to the bigger picture with your friends, family, the world?
I will say I don't wish the best for everyone. I don't wish the best for people that are harmful to other people. You don't wish the best for them either? No, I hope that they get well and they get better. But
isn't that the best for them?
Potentially, but sometimes they need to have a taste of their own medicine, and I think that, like, I don't know. We've all got, quote unquote, I would say, business or personal PTSD from different occurrences in life and instances, and hoping that. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people that will not learn unless they learn the hard way. And if nobody holds them accountable, they go through their entire life with this guise or idea that they've done no wrong. And they can't fathom the idea that they were ever incorrect or ever wrong or ever harmful or hurtful to anybody, and or malicious with their intentions. And I guess wishing them the best would be that they recognize that, and they are held accountable for that, and they understand it, and truly in their heart and mind and soul can own up to that and be better, right? Or do better, right? But it's to each their own, but to your question,
thank you. That was a good
which you now have to repeat because of my tangent.
No, that's totally, it goes hand in hand. So I asked, what's your desire for the people around you within your lifetime?
I want everybody to win. It's like, quote unquote, impossible. It's like a utopia type mindset, but I would love nothing more than to see everybody around me thriving and winning in their own set of definition of success. I really think that it's one thing that I'm focused on right now with democratizing information, because I'm understanding how valuable and important it is for, like, just certain things to be given as the basics for human development, and schools not providing that, and teachers being underpaid, they're not incentivized to, and it's just, it shouldn't be so rough and hard and difficult. Like, there's just certain things that people need to know, and I want them to know. And so, one thing that I've really been committed to and dedicated to since the start of COVID till now, maybe even my whole life, but really, like, honed in on it recently, is taking information from people that are successful in their industries and crafts, and letting you get inside their head and understand the steps that they took to get to where they're at, and then giving that blueprint and that template to the world for free, and also translating it into different languages, putting it into the blockchain so it can't be removed or compromised by ad spend budgets or platforms personal interest or political interest or whatever it may be. And yeah, making it accessible and equitable and fair for everyone, because that's what we need, I think, when I speak on my own behalf. But I think that's what will make the world a better place, having the resources and skills and knowledge and experience to aid us in our journeys to be as successful as we can and want and will be.
Part of the resources, the reason why we're doing this here right now, is so that people can learn through your experience. Like,
Feel bad for them.
know that it's okay to do things that you might look back on and think, why the fuck did I do this?
Yeah.
But hey, it's a process, and we all learn something from it, as long as you learn your lesson.
Never stop learning. You know, I just, the last event that I did, I had an idea, and I expressed this idea, but I didn't act on this idea. And I'm upset that I did not act on the idea that I expressed, because I was right in my assessment or thought or idea, which was basically, I had this event at University of Southern California in their music school. I had Layla Steinberg, who managed Tupac Shakur and currently manages Earl Sweatshirt of Odd Future. And we had Kevin Lyman, who started the Vans Warped Tour. And we had this girl, Reverie, who's an independent rapper and artist who's just been a phenomenal source of inspiration for so many. And then this other woman named Il Camille, who, same thing, just been a light and beacon for aspiring and up-and-coming women in music. And, you know, the idea that I had was like, let's print up a bunch of rappers, singer, and producer names of that everybody knows, and put them over all the chairs in the room, almost like they're reserved seats, right? And we do this on there's 3 columns of seating, right? And then you have the stage and the screens and all that. And this is in like a auditorium type space. I'm like, let's put this on the left row and the right row. So A, people are like, is this person going to show up or what? And then B, it condenses the seating all into front row center all the way back, which for videos and photos, that looks amazing. Yeah. But when you leave people to their own everything, you had scattered pockets and bubbles of people everywhere. And so after the fact, I'm like, I wish I did that. And I hadn't thought of that, because I'm normally throwing warehouse parties and raves and, you know, rooftop dinners and all sorts of other things where it's like, that's not a typical thought. Not the setup, yeah. Right. And so I learned something new, right? And I also got a reminder to to trust my gut, right? And I was like, after the fact, I was just like, man, I'm still not following my own advice. What's wrong with me? There's another kick in here. You know, so it was interesting, and this just happened 2 weeks ago before I took off to New York. And same thing in New York. I'm doing a keynote at this conference with like over 6,000 people, and I prepared my presentation and everything else. And you know, people learn things visually, like I think it's like 40 or 50,000 times faster than they do audibly or in editorial form or written form. So, you know, while I'm on stage, I'm literally telling the audience, just watch this, because you'll retain it better and you'll get this faster than me speaking it and reinforcing it. And I'm not illustrating with words as strongly as I did with this art that I put together for you, which are my words and my thoughts and my ideas. So you're getting the same exact thing, but in a more concentrated and focused state, versus me hungover and tired from DJing and rapping and doing all my party stuff the night before. But you know, you live and you learn. And I really can't stress enough how, like, we have all these tools at our disposal. We've got cameras and phones, people shooting feature films and breaking Billboard charts with music they're recording in their phone, right? Like, this was not possible 10 years ago. This wasn't possible 15 years ago. You know, we have internet everywhere we go, keeping us connected at the drop of a dime to anyone, anywhere in the world. Like, that's important. And learning about what's happening in other parts of the world, like, bankless systems like Lebanon right now, with a lot of problems happening and stuff in the Ukraine, and the list goes on, stuff in Paris. It's so crucial and important that people are being able to consume in a more educated and efficient way. And unfortunately, social media and algorithms prevent that. Normal media prevents that. They sensationalize the really good and the really bad, and they reach a lot, and they shape a narrative to fit within their box of ideals. And that's problematic. So I think what you're doing here is very valuable and important. And I think what I do on stages as well is similarly to that. And I think that I want to hear and see more of this, because this is true free speech.
Yeah, long form.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of which, you've not asked me any questions.
Right?
listening.
Here, eat a chocolate. It'll help.
It's just, I think, first time I've been quiet this long, huh? Like,
it is.
yeah, it's just, like you said, I'm visualist, so whatever you say, and you speak pretty fast for me, so I visualize it. By the time I get the whole picture, you guys are already on the other topic. So that's why I'm like, just catching up and listening.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, because I've rapped for a very long time, my whole life, and do a lot of spoken word poetry and also copywriting and creative writing. Like, I pride myself in being able to break things down and make them digestible. So anything that is needing to be repeated, or anything that is too much or too long or maybe confusing, do not hesitate to have me resurrect or rework or rewrite.
Like details, that's why I don't have any questions. So just
Yeah.
listening, it's very, you deliver very good. So just all I can do is listen.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
It is. You gotta have a way with words. That's being able to paint pictures with your thoughts is a beautiful thing to be able to do.
Yes, I asked you if you wanted coffee or tea. What was your reply?
Oh my God. Pretty sure I think I asked for like a Maybach and like a Michelin starred chef and a massage and that, literally the moon and the stars, like,
Yeah, that was really funny. Things like that, when a simple answer isn't the thing to go to, it makes me remember it so much better.
Yeah.
If there's a visual aspect to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, when people ask me about like relationships and intimacy, I kind of I use a metaphor of a vehicle. When you start in a relationship, you're a vehicle, brand new, fresh off the lot, no scratches, no dents, no Mars, no chip paint, no problems at all, right? Outside of what you already hold, because we all hold things, right, from the past that go into the future and the present. But, over time, that vehicle, you put on mileage, right? And in turn, things start to go wrong. You start to deal with adversity and obstruction. You start to find bumpy roads. You fight, you argue, you deal with all sorts of different things that you weren't expecting. And your car starts to look a different way. You start to get some dings and some dents and some paint chipping and some tears and rips in the fabric. And, over time, you have to decide if you want to fix it, if you want to repair it, or if you want to just keep going and not worry about what people see and what is aesthetically displeasing or unpleasant, right? But over time, that vehicle starts to look really bad. It looks like it might need to go to a junkyard, or you might need to get a new vehicle, right? So I think at the end of the day, we're all vehicles and we're all vessels, and the relationships that we have with people, we want to try our best to keep manicured and clean and in good shape so they can be presented well to other people and so they can be reflective well of you. And that's visual.
That's beautiful. I actually had a dream last night. I woke up.
I was in it?
No, my dad was. Thank you for asking. No, it was my dad, and I thought I had this thought my dad will always be my dad no matter what. I woke up crying because it made me feel something inside. Yeah. And that what you just said about my past relationships have been dings and whatnot, right? But as I've grown into myself, and there's a quote, leave the place you go, this isn't verbatim, but leave a place you go to better than you found it.
Yep.
That's my take on new relationships. You go into it not as the perfect car, but you go in there as yourself, and then grow into it even better. So you make it look even better instead of all the past mistakes that we've done.
Absolutely. I mean, mistakes and problems are just opportunities for solutions. So I think at the end of the day, leaving things better than you get them is a great motto and way to move through life. I said that at my friend's place in New York that I was staying with. I was like, you don't have to worry about anything. I promise you. That thing that you're complaining about being broken over there, like, I'm going to take care of that for you. This thing that you can't reach up here, I got you. Like, just let me do me and you relax. Don't worry about putting on a show for me.
Yeah, taking care of the things that you can take care of and letting the other person do what they're good at instead
Asking
of trying
for help.
to, right?
Yeah,
Ooh, back
support, asking for help, and we all need help. We all need help in different ways. And, I think it's unfortunate when people decide to thug it out and really, like, get to a point. Like, there's another visual metaphor, right? And this one I've used to teach a lot of people. But, when is the best time to take care of, like, a slow, super, super tiny fire? It's like, it's the size of a toothpick, right? It's a blade of grass. Do you deal with it now or do you deal with it later?
Depends on if you want it to burn. Or
Well, so it's already on fire, but it's super, super, super slow. Like, you could probably put it off. Okay, sooner the better. So most people, they will let that slow burn just happen and gradually get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then they'll wait till it burns down the whole block, right? And if you take care of things at the start when they're small and they're manageable, you don't have to worry about going crazy trying to put out the huge forest fire that you just created because,
Everything.
No, that like honestly, the reason people do that is because they have so much lack of trust within themselves. Lack of trust with what they're capable of doing and what other people are capable of doing. Once you start to trust yourself, you start trusting other people. I know this from personal experience.
Yeah.
Really bad.
It's urgency, too. Yeah. It's like, if there's not going to be any repercussions or harm done by your clothing sitting on top of your chair or on your couch or at the side of your bed,
right,
and nobody's going to say anything to you about it, then it's not going to be a problem. Right? You're not going to see it as something that needs urgency to be taken care of. It's not, it's still in that slow burning phase, right? But what we don't think about is that's going into the whole space and time thing, when we have, things carry energy. When we have these things around us and they are there just existing, right? That is slowly but surely accumulating, like, an energy, and it's a rock, and it's a weight, and it's an obstacle, and it creates a drag. And I think that's how people get really cluttered vehicles. I think that's how people, have homes that are untidy, and things are just better when you can see clearly and think clearly.
Clarity. All about clarity. Yeah.
That's why I walk aimlessly every day for an hour. Every day, clarity walk is what I call it. It's turned into Arts District Walk Club.
So you walk, but what do you think of Arts District? Damn, that space is bad memories, but good memories. What do you think about? Do you think more? Do you feel more? Do you try to meditate while you walk?
I put on instrumentals and freestyle rap my whole trip.
You mentally freestyle rap or
no, verbally?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I look no, I don't record it. I look like a crazy person just walking down the street talking to themselves, but I'm really, like, dropping the most fire verse that you've ever heard in your entire life that Kendrick Lamar and Eminem would want to buy from me 10 times over.
Get one of those recording pens. They wouldn't be the same.
Some things don't need to be recorded, You just let them live. That's one of the benefits and beauties of freestyling. It's spontaneous thought, and it's your brain just coming up with things impromptu. Like, sure, Mike sounding like I'm not even gonna go there, anyways. No. But yeah, I've been running from gentrification. I've recognized it's a thing. I moved from Austin once it started getting gentrified to LA. When I was in LA, I started on the west side in Mar Vista, Venice area. As soon as Snapchat moved in, that killed Dogtown and all the history and all that, because it started bringing in a tech wave and real estate wave and brought in new money and just attitude and a lot of ego and just business and commerce, and just it messed up the vibe and the energy, right? When Snapchat went out of business, left a lot of debris and damage behind. Venice will never be the same. Now there's tons of homeless and encampments and all sorts of different problems and businesses that don't exist anymore because of the harm and damage that that one Trojan horse created. And so after leaving the west side, I went to Culver City, had the same situation there with Amazon and Google and YouTube and so on and so forth. Culver was very multicultural, very diverse, very inclusive, very accessible, affordable, a lot of families, a lot of black, brown, yellow, purple, whatever you want to call it, you know, and a lot of history, and a great melting pot. Once those businesses came in, again, a lot of mom and pops and independents, and a lot of older buildings getting bulldozed and re-risen with like $2,000 more per month and so on and so forth. Then I moved to K-Town, right? Similar situation. Then I moved to Echo Park. And then similar situation. Maybe I just shouldn't move anywhere. No, and then I'm moving after they move in.
Build your own city.
Yeah, no, I'm doing that as we speak. Really, I'm literally doing that. Like virtually, I'm building an ecosystem that translates to physical and IRL, and that's what I'm doing with events that are completely free entry, free drinks, free food from start to finish, with education and entertainment. But yeah, the Arts District is starting to feel like Paris Fashion Week meets Williamsburg, Brooklyn meets a circus, and I don't know how much longer I will be able to accept it.
And where do you plan on moving next?
I love LA so much. I love LA so much. I also love Chicago. I also love New York. I also love Miami. I love parts of Europe. I love, you know, I just love everything, right?
I've seen videos of Miami. It looks gorgeous.
Miami is wonderful. Yeah. And Miami's also suffered a similar fate to business and commerce and technology and advancement and gentrification as well. But, knock on wood, I'm building in posterity right now something that will not only put me at the top of a $1 trillion industry, it will also allow me to Trojan horse the political system in Los Angeles, California, without having to run for mayor.
You're turning into what you don't want. A Trojan horse. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No,
use that same word.
Yeah, I like that word. It's a good example of like coming in and doing something. And the narrative typically is bad, but I like to switch things up, you know? But, yeah, because I don't want to get into politics, and that's why I won't run for mayor. But I have so much equity established in Los Angeles in our nightlife and entertainment and hospitality, food and beverage and events and music and art and culture, that I'm building something that ideally will be a conference and summit by the 2025 Olympics when they come to LA. Or, sorry, 2028. Sorry, it's a 5-year plan. 2028 Olympics are happening in LA, if we make it that far.
We will, no doubt.
But yeah, I'm building this series that I've been taking to schools and I brought it last year, LA, New York, Miami, Chicago. The series that I'm doing called New Friendship Tech. Ideally, I'll be able to turn into a conference or summit at that scale by the Olympics, if not sooner. And that will, again, put me at the top of this $1 trillion industry that is cryptocurrency, blockchain, Web3, non-fungible tokens, metaverses, AI, AR, VR, XR, all of that.
Where do you want the venue to be? Manifesting wise.
I already have a location in downtown that makes sense. I can hold, I think, upward to 30,000 people. And I have all of these venues and establishments that I've been using over the years that I've been generating revenue for that I'm going to activate all at once. So the city is going to be on fire in the best way ever. It's going to stimulate the economy. It's going to give me a Midas touch, as I said, to fix a lot of problems with our infrastructure, from our homelessness to, there's just so many different things in LA that need to be fixed, and our city's not taking initiative and doesn't have the guidance or leadership to actually solve them, because politics get in the way and profit over people gets in the way, and that's just not it. So yeah, I'm building something much, much bigger than myself and anybody that I know and anything that I've heard of or seen, and I'm doing it in a way that's very methodical, pragmatic, unique, special, and people can rally behind it. So yeah, it's going to be
So people
big.
besides you, I really love that. Like, it's just the visuals I got from it were whew, out of this world. Okay,
It is going to be out of this world. It literally will be. And it will have a huge, huge, huge social impact and philanthropic component that is going to set the bar for, I think, events going forward that are at scale of this capacity.
right. That's really nice. The other change would have to be what you've actually been doing is schools, just jumping into changes there too.
Yep.
My puppy's sick and she's right next to me. Sorry guys. Okay, so people that you have by you that are going to see this vision through, what are their skills, and talk a little bit more about them.
Yeah, I mean,
Your group,
so right now it's a one-man show. But as a one-man show, I've managed to amass around 20,000 attendees last year between all of the events between LA, New York, Miami, and Chicago. It's a lot. I've also managed to redistribute over $250,000 to creators and entrepreneurs and creatives last year through this model, which is really cool and inspiring to see people like pitch and shoot their shot and walk out with money and take that money and invest it in themselves and build something, and then that you're responsible for that branch that you just gave. So the whole thing is, it's called New Friendship Tech. It's technology creating new friendships. The acronym is NFT, which a lot of people know as non-fungible token. But all throughout COVID, I saw the need for social interaction with people. I saw the value of these conversations that were happening digitally through Zooms and Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces and beyond. And so I use these platforms as educational tools, as networking tools, as ways of elevating people's lives and seeing the impact that it had after the fact. And a lot of those relationships and rapport is still established to this day. So those are the people that will show up for me and have been showing up for me for these events that I've been doing. And with these events being completely free entry, free drinks, free food, there's really no reason for you not to be there unless it's too far or you don't make the time, because everybody has time. But if you want to be there, you can be there. And, I'm making it as easy as possible for people to absorb and pick up what is being put down, and from industry leaders that are experienced and accomplished in their lanes. And so if you can't make it in person, like I said, I'm taking these conversations and translating them and transcribing them and putting them into the digital space, so anybody can look at them after the fact who might not be in the same city or state or country to get that. So imagine that on a 3-day or 4-day multi-stage conference-like environment, plus activating maybe 50 or 60 other venues surrounding that conference, ranging from hotels to bars to lounges to warehouses to penthouses to mansions to nightclubs, restaurants, and more. And then giving those locations to top producers and musicians and people that want to inhabit those spaces, all underneath the same umbrella of New Friendship Tech Conference, and making those events completely free as well. It's going to do a lot. And all of those events that are happening around the conference, all those satellites and the conference itself, will get back to women, youth, elderly, animals, disabled, and eco and environmental. So
awesome. I was going to ask about that.
Yeah.
And do you have any foundations or groups in mind right now, or is that just still building on its own?
I've got a growing list of all the people and places and things that need help. And it's going to keep growing and growing and growing. And it's like, how do you fairly distribute capital to inject in all of these good causes? And, you know, I've found a transparent way to do that effectively. But, you know, outside of money, I typically like to ask what people's Achilles heels are. Like, if money was no object, what would you be doing right now? And what is preventing you from doing it right now? And if that answer isn't money, then like, let's help you get the show on the road. You know, let's give you a little pat on the butt and send you on your way. So I think, yeah, the value that this thing is going to provide is going to be major. And in the interim leading up to that, I'm doing these satellite events at schools. I'm doing these pop-ups adjacent to large conferences and trade shows and summits. So I'm already moving the bar in the right direction. And I feel like one of the deeper rooted things that is coming with this is it's somewhat elevating the status quo, because we haven't challenged these antiquated models and legacy systems that we have to participate in or partake in for all industries. And so many of these industries are exploitive and predatory with their models, ranging from fashion to art and gatekeeping and all things attached to music, and the way that we do the charts and how we pay streams and royalties, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And so by working very closely in art, in music, in fashion, in tech and gaming, I see it all and I don't like it and I want to fix it all, but I can't just on my own as this small blip. So yeah, this is
It's funny
heavy
though.
lift.
Excuse me. You said it's a one-man show right now, but you still need a team.
Right.
We've been talking about teamwork the whole time.
There's an I in team, and it's me. No.
There is an I. Okay.
Yeah. It's no. I agree, and I do want to scale out. And at this point, I've had about like I think 60 or 70 participants on like a performer and speaker side, and only like 2 or 3 of them have asked me for money. They understand the vision and the bigger picture and the goal, and most of them are just down because of who I am and what I've done, and that's I've not done. They haven't seen anything yet. I'm doing it with shoestring budgets and bootstrap, you know.
Yeah, with the help of people
When
that
I
are not on your team yet.
yeah, when I have the support commanded that I feel that I've earned, but I'm not entitled to, that is going to be something incredible. It's going to move mountains. I've got so many just amazing humans in my life of all ages and all walks and all industries that I just can't wait to just bring together, delegate, project manage, let them all do whatever they want to do, and watch this beautiful thing come to life. You've heard it here first.
Right here, the Recollection room.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. I have a lot of questions, but I
got time. I got answers. Shoot your shot.
It's more about like I know like you want to do all these things and pop up all of these other businesses. Is it non-profit organizations that are doing this, or is it corporations? Is it other businesses? What kind of businesses? Is it incorporations?
Yeah, so last year it was we did a Shark Tank style pitch competition. So people would come in off the street and they would shoot their shot and say, hey, we want to create this podcast. We want to create this show. We want to do this movie. We want to start our own lifestyle brand. And this is how far we've gotten. Here's our website. Here's our logo. Here's our LLC. Here's our press kit. Here's our best pitch possible, right? Those 4 decision makers on stage have their own businesses and are successful in their own right. And they're thumbs up, thumbs down on, you know, let's give you 1,000, let's give you 3,000, let's give you 5,000, let's give you 25,000. And people were walking in off the street, waiting in line, doing this, walking out with a check. And ideally, most of them, if not all of them, reinvested it into starting an LLC or an S corp or whatever it may be, or just infused it in their business at that pain point where money was the pause button. So that was how that was done last year. And the way that, like, I don't you people have to do whatever business is best for them, right? Or nonprofit, 501c3 or whatever. You just got to do what's best for you, right? So I don't necessarily care where the money goes as long as it's going to the appropriate intentional directions and directives that it needs to.
Do you follow up with
I,
these
I,
businesses?
I do I do, but not like tediously, like, because I'm not an incubator, I'm not an accelerator, not a venture capitalist, not an angel investor.
Right, but just to understand what
that journey is.
What the journey is, also just to learn something from it, just lessons from these different companies that you decide to invest in.
I've done interviews with some of them, and it's been cool to see their growth and witness that they're sticking to what they said and following through. Mm-hmm. And then I've seen some literally here today, gone tomorrow, took the money and run. Oh. And, that's unfortunate. But I would say the majority of the people have followed through. I would say like 85, 90% have followed through with like doing what they said they needed the money for. And so, but there's only so much time in a day, and I'm talking about moving the world, and I'm one person.
You're still the same person when it comes to that, huh? Too much on your plate.
Oh yeah, no, pile it on.
You've got enough hands to keep it all afloat.
It stops when you stop, and there's I think at the end of the day, being good with resources and delegating is important, and I'm a good leader and project manager and can successfully delegate well, but I also move like I want to find people that move like me. I need to find people that move like me, whether that's a muse, whether that's an assistant, whether that's a co-founder, whether that's a CTO, whatever the hell it is. I don't care about the label or tag, but I need people that move and think like me, because those are the people that can really like move mountains,
You know how Lex Freeman put out a job interview recently?
Yeah.
Are you going to do one of those?
Maybe.
See what you can get?
Maybe. I mean, I'm grateful and lucky that I've had the opportunities to work with like Bobby Hundreds and Gary Vee and VaynerMedia at one point. I've been written up in GQ and Rolling Stone. The events that I've done have been in Vice, Complex, LA Weekly, LA Times. So I let things roll organically, but if I open myself up to what the world can bring by doing one of those, Diddy did one not too long ago as well. I don't know what will come of that. I don't know if I have the bandwidth or capacity to deal with the inbound that will come with that, but I definitely need to do something sooner than later. Otherwise, I'm just going to be taking on too much.
Come on, that little straw, or are you gonna let it get into
hold me accountable? That's what friends are for, accountability buddies. So yeah, the thing is, so it's what I've done so far is proof of concept, and proof of concept is overdone. Last year I did that so well that like people are trying to buy the business from me. They don't know that like I literally just got around to filing an LLC for it, because I was running so fast and had so much momentum that I didn't even get a chance to stop and tap my lawyer and have her handle that for me while I continue building and creating. Yeah. So now in year 2, where everyone thinks I'm like suffering from success, I scaled too quickly, and I'm having to pump the brakes a little bit, restructure a little bit, and keep on the path. And so yeah, I'm in a reset, recalibration mode at the moment.
Like more than a year.
Yeah. She's like, oh, I'm done. I'm tired. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah. No, I need to shoot a flare gun out for some support, for some help.
It's time.
Take my own advice.
Yeah.
It's always easier to do things for others than it is yourself.
It is, but it's also really good to have the backbone. Like, you know what you want done before you allow people inside.
Absolutely. And I wake up every day and I do the work. I go to sleep every night and I do the work. And so the good part is nobody can take anything away from me. I've got proof of everything and I own everything. So it's like, that's the beauty of doing your own thing.
That's not a worry of yours, which is a great stress relief.
There's nothing worse than having a partner or being in a position that can leave you compromised because you built a castle on someone else's sand. There's nothing worse than being susceptible to things that are outside of your control. So luckily, I only have me to rely on. So if I decide not to do any work for a week or a month and face the repercussions that come with that, that's on me. But nobody's going to kick my ass and beat me down for not doing what I should or would or want to be doing. They're not going to pull me out of bed and be like, you better finish this graphic. You better build this website,
It is a different level of accountability, to be honest, to work with a bigger team than just yourself.
Yeah.
Because you got to be accountable for yourself and for others and vice versa on everyone else.
Exactly. So I think maybe it's a little, it'd be irresponsible or negligent for me to take on too many people at the moment because I'm still structuring a few different, like a practitioner. I'm fixing a few little kinks in the chain, but soon.
So not soldiers. You want leaders who can train to be.
Everybody that works with me, because people don't work for me, but everybody that works with me becomes a leader in their own right. I'm finding that the majority of people that have worked with me end up becoming independent and self-sovereign and finding that they don't want to be beside me, so to speak, because they get inspired enough to do their own thing, which is great in a way.
It's a great leader.
It hurts me, but it helps them, and I get to see them do their thing.
That is kind of the plan, though.
Let me teach you how to fish. Let me teach you how to fish and teach you how to fish and teach you how to fish, and now I'm...
Go fish for me.
Go
bring me back a fish.
And now I need fish. Come on, give me some fish, But, yeah, and that's the grass is greener, or sorry, not grass is greener. That's the, the grass is green where you water it, If you water it too much, it can't grow. If you don't water it, it can't grow. And if you're too busy watering everyone else's, then you have none for yourself.
Yeah.
But the water's always refillable.
If you keep it that way.
If you want it to be. Yeah. Except for Southern California where it never rains.
Except for this year. This year was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there's always tears of happiness into your bucket of optimism. I feel it. I think that mindset, though, that abundant mindset is important for people to realize and live with,
I agree.
Yeah.
Any questions? I'm just taking it all in.
I'm still taking it all in.
Okay, I expect an essay of questions next visit.
Yeah, please do come next time, and I will definitely have more questions.
That's all good. You can ask away.
Keep you accountable and all that.
Just bring me back in 2028 after my vision of grandeur and be like, wow, you know what? We did this interview, and I didn't think you were gonna do it. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
My mouth.
No.
It would be fun though to have it be that. I didn't think you could, but hey, guess what?
He talked a big game, but whew, he actually delivered. That's insane. Like that's beautiful. But yeah, I think benchmarking and documenting and having checkpoints is super cool and important. And the more I speak it, the more I have to live it, and the more I can be held accountable for. So it's like, I'm not talking to talk. I'm not blowing smoke.
Putting ideas out and being able to keep them going is the most important thing.
If anybody out in the world listening wants to invest in me financially to give me more time so I can hire more support so we can move mountains, feel free to message me.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll leave that.
Once this is finished, when this podcast is finished, we're going to do a segment where you paint something for us.
Okay.
And since this is a nonprofit, we're going to see if people invest into that. That'll go to you to see your projects through.
Amazing. I love it.
All right. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
Now let's do more questions. That is not
You
really
do
it.
that.
Okay.
No, which
You
ones
got it.
we're gonna do? Red ones, blue, yellow.
You guys decide. I will be right back. We're going to cut this out, but I want to see what's going on with Marley.
Choose one. Okay, let's see what's the question. Okay, does no always really mean no?
Does no always really mean no? No. The reason for that is that you don't know unless you know. KNOW. Right? So without knowing something from all perspectives, or as many as you can think of, you really can't say no to it. Or at least in my mind. Like, no is typically prompted by the idea that you either aren't interested, don't have the time, or you just, or you don't have the money. That's it. So I think no is just an opportunity for a rebuttal and an opportunity for questioning why, you know? Why is it no? Why do you choose water with no ice versus water with ice? And asking questions gets answers that provide a path.
Okay, I see. That was a good answer.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do two more.
Okay.
Here you go. Wanna ask that one?
Me? Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Oh, how would you raise a child differently from how your parents raised you?
Ooh. I can't wait to raise a kid the way that I would like. I feel like they would have literally like the most amount of, they would have unlimited support to explore everything that their heart desires and anything that they can imagine, and really reinforcing values to showcase that impossible is nothing and no doesn't exist, and that the world is vast and boundless, and help them understand how to cope with not always getting their way, but being in control of getting their way more often. And so, yeah, I would, growing up, I got told no a lot. I got put in timeout a lot. I was reprimanded a lot. I was told certain things were not possible a lot. And I have since shown and proven multiple times that their idea of what is impossible or improbable or not a good idea or doesn't make sense or can't be done is just not true. So, yeah.
Limited beliefs.
Yeah, it would be a very concrete belief system that would almost, how should I say, perpetuate a constant interest in personal enrichment, growth, and development.
Beautiful.
Okay, one more. Let's do one.
That was number 7, by the way.
Number 7. Oh, that's my favorite numbers.
I might need the lottery picks from you.
Oh, that's a long question you asked.
Okay. Do you consider the state of unconditionally loving everyone to be desirable or undesirable for you, given it were possible?
I don't feel everyone should have unconditional love from you, because love and certain feelings of emotions are intimate and unique to you, and you need to use them sparingly. You have to earn your keep in my life. So to get my love and attention and support, I need to see why you need that and why you deserve that, because not everybody deserves that from the jump. So I think respectfully, you should love with care and sparingly, and make sure that you're loving the right people and the right things for the right reasons, and not just throwing it everywhere. And it's love is a powerful word too. And I think that a lot of people use the word friend in a similar way, where they're like, oh, I love this. I love you. Oh my God, I love everything about you. I love it. I love it so much, right? When they really just like it a lot, or, you know, they appreciate it, right? And so I think people use that word friend a lot too, where it's like, oh, that's my best friend. Oh, we've been friends forever. That's my friend. And it's like, are they really your friend, or are they an acquaintance or a peer? Or, you know, are they as much of a friend to you as you are to them? Do you look at each other equally, or is it lopsided? You know, and I think love is very much in that boat where, you know, you might not see that love back. So, you know, be mindful of who and what you love.
And what is your definition of the unconditional love that ever the specific
Unconditional love?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's in alignment with passion and what your values are, and your roots. And I think that I have, and most people have, unconditional love for their parents and for their animals and for themselves to some extent, which I guess breaks the condition. But yeah, I think that undying and unconditional love is for anything that you are just infinitely passionate about. And I have unconditional love for education. I have unconditional love for leading by example with humility and empathy, showing how to care and to really be human. And I have unconditional love for my mom, because she's been a number one fan and supporter through highs and lows and lefts and rights, and still is to this day. And while we might not see eye to eye on certain things, and she might not approve of certain things, I've seen from as young as I can imagine and remember till now, she has shown unconditional love.
Does your definition of love differ from unconditional love, or are they one and the same?
I think it depends on the attachment, you know. Words are words if they don't have meaning. So I think when I use the word love, if I say, I absolutely love that for you, or I love your outfit, or I love your hair, or I love that color of, you know, it's coming from an unconditional place, because I wouldn't just throw love around blindly or randomly, even in relationships. Like if I'm dating and you know, we're dating for a while, or maybe it's a poly or open relationship or whatever it may be, I'm still very mindful of when I use that word love, because I think that for some people brings things into a whole different area and advances things and brings a different level of depth, and weight to it. So, you know, I'm a lover, not a fighter, but I will fight for love. Unconditionally.
That's so crazy. Yeah, but you are a fighter. What are you talking about? You're not a fighter.
Oh yeah,
You're a fighter.
No, but I love as hard as I fight, and I definitely I prefer love and peace and warmth and safety and security versus conflict and obstruction and adversity and arguments and fighting. And drama.
I love adventure. I think just the difference between definitions of the words like peace, stability, all of those things can have so much adventure in them if defined properly.
Absolutely. Like I said, words without definition or without meaning are meaningless. It's just noise. We define what our words mean to us.
Yes, we do.
You know? So.
Great. I'm done with my question.
You're done with your question?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I look at everything, and I look at things in a very different way than most, which I guess anybody could say, but like when I, for example, like because of rapping and vocabulary and communication, like this table is wood, it's brown, it's oak, it's like 15 different words for me, right? It's oval, cylinder.
We're not gonna ask him to rap for us?
Why not? I was just thinking that too.
Yeah, I was like, how is it?
She cared about the castle on the surface, but thought it was a worthless hassle to be digging in the sand. You could be gone in a pinch like the missing of a gram, beyond the mission to expand. What I'm spitting's too advanced, you could slip into a trance. Gifted since the kid was given scissors and the crayons. What I deliver with the pen is considered in the bends. My words are a vehicle like missionaries in a van. I could supply y'all for years and start fixing the demand. But the last time I reached out, I was bitten on the hand. Damn, I see how peeps get bitter in the end, and I'm too old to be trying to stick it to the man. No kind of second thoughts or considering again. Yeah, I did it for the love, and I did it for the fans. But you didn't understand. I did it for the love, and I did it for the fans, but you didn't understand. Gifted since the kid was given scissors and the crayons, had a vision and a plan. Anyways.
Now we have one of those recorded. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. Well, let me... Yeah, I mean, I
think that was already prepared and ready. He talked through.
No, I can rap about gold palms and pine cones and psalms and psalms and 316 verses, pine cones and 316 hearses, chocolate, drop chip, hot chips, mosh pits, Glock 6, cockpit. I'm in a mosh pit eating chocolate with the cockpit. I don't know. Anyways.
So that last part, just to ask you a question, you did it for the fans. You did it for the love and for the fans, but you didn't understand.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
So I said, she cared about the castle on the surface, but thought it was a worthless hassle to go digging in the sand. But you could be gone in a pinch like the missing of a gram. Beyond a mission to expand, what I'm spitting's to advance, you could slip into a trance. Gifted since the kid was given scissors and the crayons, I had a vision and a plan with what's delivered in the pen, what's delivered with a pen. I could supply y'all for years and start fixing the demand, but the last time I reached out, I was bitten on the hand. Damn, I see it's, I don't even remember. I don't know, I'm trying to put it together as I go. But yeah, did it for the love, did it for the fans. You didn't understand, right? So that in my mind is like, I wouldn't be doing this anyways. I'd be doing what I'm doing. It's not about the money, right? I did it for the fans. I did it for the love of the art. And you don't understand why I can't stop doing what I love.
Okay, it's like my dad. The thing I cried about my dad just came back. It's like my dad will always be my dad,
no
matter what.
Yeah, I'm not gonna stop doing what I love regardless. So for a lot of people, it's like, well, why do you rap if you're not getting paid for it or you don't have this big audience or whatever? And it's like, because I love to do it. It's cathartic. It's therapeutic. Me writing rhymes and playing with words and syllables and voice inflection and all of it. It's the same reason I DJ. Just so happens that I do both very, very well and have gotten compensated and do have fans and blah, blah, blah. But do what you love and you never work a day in your life. But you also work until your death.
Yeah, you worked your ass off.
Yeah,
but-
you work until you die.